Welcome to another day in the Matrix. What a week it's been. Bitcoin has officially entered price discovery, breaking out to $90,000, and now it's even flipped the market cap of silver. So now that Bitcoin has began its journey into price discovery for this final parabolic phase of the crypto bull run, many want to know when to expect the alt season. And of course, the XRP community wants to know what's coming next for XRP. So that's exactly what we'll be focusing on in today's video. And here at Waters Above, we're empowering you to actualize your potential with esoteric investing by combining Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology with technical analysis to understand these markets so that you can become a more profitable investor. Now let's take the clear pill. So as many of you are aware, Bitcoin has officially entered the 80K zone after about 8 months of trading sideways. And if you've been keeping up with my videos over that time, you'd be aware of the significance of last month, specifically the date of October 2nd, which was the annular solar eclipse. I've been preparing you all for that moment for over a year now because it was the final solar eclipse of our solar cycle. And it's after that final solar eclipse of our solar cycle that Bitcoin breaks out into this final phase of the bull run, the parabolic phase, coupled with the also desired alt season. And we can show you this going all the way back to 2013. Right here, you can see that it's after the November 3rd solar eclipse that Bitcoin tops out in its cycle peak. Then when we move forward to 2017, we have this final solar eclipse on August 21st. Then Bitcoin breaks out into its cycle top. Then to our last completed cycle in 2021, we have that final solar eclipse on December 14th. And you could see Bitcoin breaks out into its cycle top. And although in that cycle of 2021, Bitcoin did in fact push up higher into the end of that year after we already started the lunar cycle, it was a slight new all-time high in November 2021, and ultimately that cycle ended in a double top. And we could also see that at the start of this lunar cycle right here in late May of 2021, Bitcoin already experienced a major correction of over 50%. And for the most part, that was the correction that ended the alt season. So this is exactly why I am not playing any games with this upcoming lunar cycle that will start on the total lunar eclipse of March 14th next year in 2025. It's just about 4 months away from when I filmed this video. And this is something I actually teach thoroughly with comprehensive video tutorials in my crypto decoding blueprint. This is part of my Decoding Mastermind course. And I actually have a new module being added to that Decoding Mastermind very soon called the Trinity Masterclass. So anyone that's already invested in that course will be getting this Trinity Masterclass added automatically without any further action needed. And for those that are interested in this Decoding Mastermind, I have actually launched an early access Black Friday sale over on my website. The link can be found in the description box or in the pinned comment below. So using the promo code Black Friday, all as one word, lowercase, over at checkout, you'll be able to get the best discount available. And even if you're mostly focused on crypto, but you're interested in learning my decoding system, then this Decoding Mastermind is a perfect balance since it includes that crypto decoding blueprint for free within this Decoding Mastermind. And I recently just added 2 new packages over on my website. So if you're focused solely on crypto, I have the crypto package. And if you're looking for a more holistic package, I have the Mastermind package over at watersabove.com/store. And I appreciate and I'm grateful for all of your continued support. This is really the most ideal time to commit to your education on this market since we just moved into this phase of the market cycle where the most money is made, but simultaneously, it's also the most difficult time to navigate. It's the most confusing and most emotional, and this is exactly why I designed my courses the way that I did, so that you can have clarity amongst the chaos and the confusion and be one of the few in that small percentage of investors that walk away from a bull run in profits. So again, if you want to take things to the next level, check out that Black Friday sale I have running on my website. Whether you're interested in crypto or trading or decoding, even health and wellness and mindset, we're covering all the bases here so that you can build generational wealth. So getting back to these charts, we can clearly see a relationship between the final phase of the crypto bull run and the solar and lunar cycles. Effectively, Bitcoin likes to top out after the fourth and final solar eclipse of our solar cycle and before the start of a new lunar cycle. It's in that window of time. So I've given you those exact dates a year ago and bringing them up in every single video, every interview I've been on, and in every podcast I've done. And here we are. We've pushed past our fourth solar eclipse of the solar cycle, and we have all the way until March 14th, 2025, the total lunar eclipse to experience the parabolic phase of this crypto bull run. And look at what's gone down over just the past week. This is just the beginning. So I am not one to say I told you so or any of that, but I really do hope now that you take this stuff a little bit more seriously, because although it is a completely brand new way of perceiving these markets, it's an undeniable system. And if you've been following along and you've trusted in this system because you see it to be more powerful than just what's happening with the mainstream, then I salute you, because you're one of the few that's even aware of this. This is very, very hidden knowledge. And it's a beautiful thing for us to have this knowledge in advance and to have been positioned for this exact moment. Because as we look at these charts, Bitcoin is now heading towards 100K. This is literally the most exciting time to be a conscious investor, and also the scariest and most confusing time for 99% of the average investors, because this is where the FOMO kicks in, the fear of missing out. We just walked into that room, and it's a very loud and dramatic echo chamber. I suggest that if you're feeling that in your stomach right now, and you're afraid of missing out on this bull run, just take a deep breath, relax. Trust me, we're just getting started. You have time, but you need to keep your emotions on the sidelines right now. There's no room for emotions in investing. So now that we've seen Bitcoin push up into 90K and it's on its way to 100K, everyone's wondering, will Bitcoin hit 100K in this cycle? And the fact that we're probably only 15% away from hitting that target, I believe that it's very likely. You know, we're only, let me measure right now so you can see, we're only about 13 or so % away from that milestone of $100,000 Bitcoin. And we just watched Bitcoin go from 70K to almost 90K in only 7 days. It seems highly likely that Bitcoin will in fact hit 100K and actually go much higher. And let me show you another pattern of why I believe that's the case, starting with the end of 2020. And we're going to work our way backwards each cycle. So as you can see here, this, believe it or not, started right at the fourth solar eclipse of our last solar cycle. Coincidence? But I don't think so, because that's the energetics that runs this market. Remember, I've said it many times. It's not the news. It's not politicians. It's none of that. It is Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology is what runs this market. So you can see that from this candle right here. This would be effectively the breakout candle into price discovery. And if you take from the candle body open up to this first pivot here at the beginning of January, that top, which was also on a new moon, by the way, that was approximately 23 days and it was a 115% move. So just write down a little over 100% move in just a little over 3 weeks. Then when we go back to 2017, we're going to see the same effect right over here. We have this April 27th, 2017 candle that breaks us into price discovery. And in a similar time frame, just about 4 weeks in this situation, Bitcoin accomplished the same exact percentage gains before a short-term pullback, and then we actually did push up a little bit higher. Obviously, if you zoom out, we continued quite a bull run after that too. So we're just talking about the first surge in price into price discovery. Keep that in mind. Now let's go back to 2013 for another example. And we have right here, Bitcoin from late February 2013 in its like first true bull run cycle. Over the following 3 weeks, you could see 21 days, Bitcoin broke into price discovery and it rallied over 100%, almost 140%. And then it actually did that again over here because we had a double peak cycle back in the 2013 year. And I also kind of feel that's what's coming up next in this year of 2025. The reason I'm entertaining this is because back in 2013, this was the year of the snake. And we're moving into the year of the snake in 2025. So we're synchronizing everything here. And there's some really powerful information that I shared inside of that crypto decoding blueprint. As I said earlier, part of the Decoding Mastermind. This has a year of the snake decoded sneak preview. It's about 25 minutes long. And it's released far in advance from when we actually have Chinese New Year. And I lay out everything in that. So really powerful information. For anyone who got that when I released it a couple months ago, you're probably ecstatic right now. The fact that you positioned yourself using that information, and you're absolutely in profits today if you listen to that information. So this is a wild time right now, and we have Bitcoin pushing up into this price discovery time frame, and I'm feeling that there's a lot of syncretism of the 2013 cycle with what we're heading into in 2025. So I will continue to update you guys on that as we progress, but for today's video, we just kind of want to focus on this initial surge into price discovery. So we have right here, we actually did the same exact thing again. And if we look at the time frame, we did the 100% move in just a couple weeks following the breakout into price discovery. Well, it was after the 4th solar eclipse of our solar cycle. So it's always finalizing the bull run and the final cycle peak after the 4th solar eclipse and before the start of a lunar cycle. That's really what I wanted to hammer home here today, and everything that we went over at the beginning of this video really solidifies those truths. So we're going to use all this data from past cycles, and we're going to synchronize it with where we're at today. And you're going to see I have a little bit of this information prepared for you already. We're taking from November 6th, which was the price discovery candle, the date of which we can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that Bitcoin is in price discovery. And when we add 100% from that candle body open on November 6th, you're going to see that puts us right about 139K, just a little shy of 140K. And considering multiple examples, we're right around 115% move. If we were to take that 115% move from the candle body open of November 6th, it would bring us to $150,000. And to give the exact dates, because the time frame of the move is about 3 weeks to 1 month, that gives us November 27th through December 4th for the initial surge into price discovery. And I don't think this cycle would be over just then, unless of course Bitcoin hyperextends further than this typical move, which is always possible, especially with what I was saying about the syncretism between the year of the snake, because we did that hyperextended move in this year of the snake. You can see, even though we pushed up for the first 3 weeks, we only had about 48 hours of pullback before this thing continued parabolic. So I can't completely write off that possibility right now. But what I'm sharing with you, the reason I'm sharing this with you about my comments on $140,000 or $150,000 Bitcoin, and that I feel it's not over yet, is because we have a lot of other things to take into account, such as stock to flow and many, many other charts that I've been personally utilizing, also covered in that crypto decoding blueprint. But it gives me even higher price targets. What I just showed you right now is the repetitive pattern of at least 100% move for Bitcoin as it initially breaks into price discovery of all past cycles, 2013, 2017, 2021. Undeniable. It is not watersabove's opinion at all. So just to kind of lay this all out, the initial surge into price discovery, going to 130, 150K, I don't think we would be over with our bull run just then, unless Bitcoin hyperextends further than this typical move. So let's clear that up. If Bitcoin, let's say, was to push past 150K and started heading towards 200,000, as quick as the end of this month or the start of December, which I am not saying will happen, but if it was to happen, then I'd expect at least what happened back in 2017 and 2021, which was a minimum 30% correction to follow that move. So what I mean is right here. When we had the surge into the beginning of the year, we followed that by a 31% pullback. This was incredibly confusing for most investors, and that was just the beginning of the bull run, because remember, Bitcoin went up and actually made 2 further higher highs. So from that corrective target up to the absolute top was an additional 126% on top of the 115%. Now, since I brought up 2017, let me just show you what I mean. So we did hyperextend a little bit higher, and then we had this almost 40% correction. So what am I saying? It's that if Bitcoin is to complete the average move of 100 to 115% and make it to 140K or 150K, then I'd still expect a noticeable correction, and it would be healthy. And that wouldn't be anything new. That's what Bitcoin always does on its first surge into price discovery. And it's after that moment that we start seeing Bitcoin dominance drop. And that's when we get the alt season. And the reason I'm putting emphasis on the opportunity for a correction comes back to the Bitcoin CME chart. So that's important that we bring this up right now. Some of you might be aware, but for those who don't, we need to address this gap to the downside. So since this weekly close just passed, we have a noticeable CME gap right under about 78K. And as I record this video, Bitcoin is about $10,000 higher than that price target. So that's very important to note. And just to get this out of the way, Bitcoin doesn't need to fill this gap, but it sure does like to. As in my half a decade of studying these charts every single day, I've seen most of the time these larger gaps definitely get filled, with only a couple exceptions. So here in this chart, I have a fib pull right here from this swing high to this swing low. And what we're going to see right now is that we're looking at a logarithmic chart with this logarithmic scale turned on. That setting is very important. And this gives us the 1,618 or golden ratio right at about 96K on the CME chart. And that would only be about, let me see, a 37% move from this breakout candle if I was to consider that whole pull that we brought up earlier from price discovery breakout candle till the initial target of the golden ratio. Well, 37% is not even close to the full 100 to 115% move that Bitcoin typically makes on its first surge into price discovery. So I want you to keep this in mind. I'm literally giving you the play-by-play here, so you better be taking notes. Now, when I double click on these fibs, I'm going to turn this setting off, and it's naturally going to lower this 1,618. We're looking at a linear scale with the linear setting on this Fibonacci retracement tool. And we're going to see that this puts us right below 90K. And that's literally where Bitcoin is trading as we speak. So if that's where we're at today, what does this all mean? It means that we have a range for our first upside target on this CME chart that we've already interacted with on the lower end of the range. And we only have about, I think, 7% to go until hitting the top of this. We only have about 7% to go to complete this range, and all in all, filling this CME gap below sooner than later is ideal. I'd personally rather us fill this gap now and get it out of the way and keep it moving. But of course, the market doesn't do what I want it to do. I am here to observe it, take notes, refine my technical analysis, and get better and better as I practice. The market doesn't do what I want it to do, but that would be the ideal play at this time. Although many technical analysts have become hip to these CME gaps over the years, so it's not like it's a shocking discovery. I'm sure many analysts and influencers are talking about this right now, and the market maker has their artificial intelligence pulling in all the data from our content to make their own moves accordingly. So you need to keep that in mind. They're not stupid. They know that YouTube and what's going on X influences the average retail investor quite a bit, a lot more than even the words of Warren Buffett. People don't really care about what Buffett has to say. They rather listen to the things that are going on in social media. Now, it's not to say that all of it's lies, because of course there's always wisdom that you could resonate with and extract and apply accordingly. I would hope that I'm one of those people that you resonate with, but at the end of the day, I'm still telling you to follow your intuition, for you to learn the skills so that you're not just blindly copying or following me, so that you can become a self-reliant investor. That's what I really want for you. That's what will make me feel success. So with that out of the way, it's important I say this because it's my warning to you to not get fancy trading this market right now. We're in the final stretch. Kick back and enjoy the ride. Stop trying to make fancy leverage trades in this phase of the bull run. That's not only the easiest time to make money, but it's the easiest way to lose money. And the 99.99% of those who have losses during this phase of the bull run, it's due to leverage trading. So just don't. Save your stress and just enjoy this last phase of the bull run with the investments that you've made or the investments that you're making now. Thank me later. And if you resonate with what we're doing here, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated for when my next video comes out. So here's the play. I gave you the date range between November 27th through December 4th right here in this chart to anticipate another push to the upside. And that's based on all past cycles. And it should put us between 130 to 150K. Again, based off of past cycles, not my opinion. And if we make it up that high, especially if we don't fill this CME gap now, then I definitely anticipate a deeper pullback for Bitcoin after it breaks above 120K. If that happens before the monthly candle close of November, then I am definitely anticipating that. Kind of think of it as a repeat of what went down in the start of 2021. Just right here. Pushing and breaking into price discovery, followed by a pretty dramatic correction. Now, considering that Bitcoin has effectively hit 90K today, this means that we still have about, I want to say 50 or so % higher until we get to that full 100% target. So we still have about 55% more gains ahead of us to complete that full 100% move that Bitcoin typically makes in the first surge into price discovery. And if we leave that CME gap behind, well, that wouldn't be the first time that Bitcoin has done that. It also did it, guess when? Back in 2020, right over here. So as I said earlier, let's not be dogmatic about these CME gaps. Again, they don't have to be filled. They just typically do get filled. And my analysis is simple. I am not worried about any little corrections right now. It's all just a buy the dip opportunity for me. Especially while I'm looking at total 2 and total 3 market cap, they're not even in price discovery yet. So any and all dips at this time are opportunities to finalize our dollar cost average blueprint before alt season. And since I brought up the alt season and since we've been keeping up with XRP since I launched this channel and being one of the few communities taking profits on this particular project at arguably the most profitable moments you could possibly take for XRP, going against the tribalism along the way and sticking to our trading plan and investment thesis, well, it's time to check in on XRP and you're going to see something powerful. Look at this. It's just been the first week of Bitcoin price discovery. I want to put on these 3-day candles, going to zoom out and compare it to where we were in the same phase of the last cycle. This is something that I've been keeping you up to date on as much as possible. And we're literally mimicking what we did back then perfectly. Remember in my last video, I measured the amount of days from this initial test at the first resistance of December 2015, and I measured it to the breakout. You can see that this puts us right around 480 days. Well, in this cycle, if you measure the same, you're right around 490 days. You can't get much closer than that. So we're literally in the final moments before XRP breaks out, which is always due to 1, Bitcoin price discovery, and 2, us entering an overall alt season. We're here, family. This is it. So I'm not going to hype anyone up. That's not what we do here on this channel. We've put in the hard work to become esoteric investors, and now all the stars are aligning, literally. So from my technical perspective, we just need to see a macro candle closure for XRP above 72 cents. And that's where we're trading at right now. That should be our technical trigger to break out from this almost 500-day resistance that we've been battling. And that can all be complete as soon as the end of this week. We might even be closing a daily candle tonight above 72 cents. We'll keep an eye on this. And I'm sticking to my original analysis that I've been sharing for over half a year now, and that is once XRP can break above 72 cents with a macro candle closure, it can quickly push to about $1.30, $1.40, and that's the next resistance level, which is in alignment with phase 3 in this chart. Now, that might kind of worry some people, but I'm just letting you know that's the first push, all right? I see much, much higher targets, so don't get discouraged right now. And remember, we're entering the most volatile phase of this bull run, so remain focused and don't become impatient all of a sudden because you see other altcoins popping off right now. Don't get distracted. And if you're worried about what other altcoins are doing, it's likely because your portfolio isn't effectively diversified or you're overexposed to XRP. Both are not ideal. It's probably one of those two things, and that's okay. So there's opportunity here. All right. And even though XRP is my second biggest position, I still have a venture capital portfolio, and my plays on Dogecoin, Aave, and Cardano, just to name a few, have been keeping everything in balance for me lately. And I have a venture capital portfolio of almost 25 different altcoins. So I'm spread out in a way that I don't need to get concerned about what one particular project is doing. And if you're interested in seeing my portfolio, then you could consider joining our mastermind community over at patreon.com/watersabove. By joining our mastermind community membership, you'll unlock access to the What I'm Investing In podcast, where I go over my entire portfolio breakdown and every altcoin that I hold. And that membership also gives you access to the live updates whenever I buy or sell an investment. So that's another perk included with my weekly Red Pill podcast, and access to our Discord server for our community group chat, so you could come hang out with other like-minded investors. And I've been very active over there lately on Patreon, releasing not only my weekly podcast, but also several market updates during the week, so my community could be 100% aware of what's happening in these markets during the week. And my Patreon supporters get an even bigger discount for this Black Friday sale that I have going on live right now. So if you're interested in one of my courses during this Black Friday sale, you could consider joining our mastermind community for only $9.99 a month, and you'd get an even bigger discount on the courses that you were interested in, making the membership cost effectively free, considering the savings. And you'll have a way more value by being in our mastermind community as well, especially while you're going through the course material. They complement each other perfectly. And again, grateful for your support, investing in yourself by investing in my art. It truly means so much to me. And for less than $10 a month, I mean, it's an incredible value alongside the other things we have going on. So to wrap up today's video, we need to keep in mind that Bitcoin has already hit that 1618 target. That's very, very important. I'm just letting you know now because we're kind of in that final phase where we're about to trigger off the alt season, keeping it in context to today's video. And I'm seeing XRP now, it's up 17%. We're hitting 73 cents. This is perfect alignment for what sets us off into the true alt season. So I want to mention something though. We need to keep in mind that Bitcoin, if we pull the fib from the swing high back in March 2024 to the swing low of August 5th, we're going to see that in the linear pull that we have a 94K Bitcoin as our 1618. Now, how funny would it be if we saw Bitcoin hit 94K before a correction after the August new moon flash crash right here brought us down to 49K? That would be our mirror number. We go from 49 to 94. And if you watched my Black Moon Decoded, then you'll know I used this number 49 in my decode to determine that Kamala Harris would lose this election. That was synchronized with the fact that she became the 49th Vice President of the United States during the election that followed Super Bowl 54 that the San Francisco 49ers lost. And she was born in Oakland, California. That's in the San Francisco Bay Area. And she is running for president this year. And the 49ers also lost the Super Bowl earlier this year as well against the same team, the Kansas City Chiefs, in a rematch from the game they played in 2020, the year of the election that allowed her to become the 49th vice president. And showing the 49ers had a losing code, and not only is she the 49th vice president, but in Gematria, her name gives us 49. And the moment the 49ers lost this recent Super Bowl in 2024, Bitcoin immediately hit 49K. It was right here. So this is powerful stuff, because when that happened, Biden released this really cryptic tweet saying, just like we drew it up with laser eyes. Shout out to my community who wrote this over on X earlier. And also remember this year, speaking of the number 49, this mythological archetype, Satoshi Nakamoto, turned 49 on April 5th. And from that moment, Bitcoin has effectively entered a downtrend until it bottomed at 49K. So we have 49ers lose the Super Bowl, Bitcoin hits 49K. It breaks out. 49th birthday of Satoshi, correction, bottoms at 49K. Unbelievable, because then we recover. And we're heading now to 94K. So how perfect would that be? So I think there's something going on here. And if you watched my last video that I put out here on YouTube, you would have saw that in that video I exposed a pattern tied to our new moons. So regarding our new moons, Bitcoin has its deepest correction completed within the 7th day of each month, and how immediately after that new moon, we experience a correction. Well, the next new moon is technically on December 1st, and the 49th week of the year starts on December 2nd. So when I put this all together, it seems to add up that Bitcoin is likely to hit 94K before the 49th week of the year for that December new moon, and then we have a harsh correction during the 49th week, synchronized with the negative energy of the number 49, as well as the new moon corrections that we've been getting cyclically throughout this whole year. And since 94K is just, probably 4 or 5% away, it's only 6% of, about 4 or 5% away. This kind of all adds up, right? The odds are we'd accomplish this 94K sooner, and perhaps that level would be a good rejection to then come back down and fill that CME gap. And that is what I drew out over here. If we double click and we put this log setting back on, you'll see exactly how I have this set up. On CME, it would be above 94 naturally. So that's really an amazing syncretism. If it plays out that way, that'll be mind-blowing. But if you've been following along our calls here, we've been doing well. So this would be definitely not only just an opinion or a outlook, it's also a technical target regarding the fib pull and the 1.618 golden ratio. So based off of Bitcoin seasonality, we have about a 40% gain for the month of November. And considering our monthly candle opened at 70K for Bitcoin, if we are to measure what that would look like off of 70K, it would show you that we have the potential to make it to 98K Bitcoin to open up the month of December. So I'm keeping this in my investment thesis for now, and whether we stall at 100K into our monthly close or stall out right now for a correction, it's all just another day in the matrix. All in all, Bitcoin is poised to hit 100K soon and go higher. And I showed you undeniable data that points to 130 to 150K Bitcoin as soon as the start of December next month. And it would make sense for it to be accomplished before the end of the year, before New Year's into 2025. And if you want to know my final price target for this cycle, I cover it thoroughly in about 4 to 5 different video tutorials within that crypto decoding blueprint. Again, part of that decoding mastermind course, available now for early access Black Friday sale. It's now live on my website at watersabove.com/store using the promo code Black Friday. That's all lowercase and all one word. And you could also find that in the description and the pinned comment below. I am so grateful for all of your continued support, and I'm wishing you all an amazing rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.